everybody, it's Life Coach Jessica here. I am the owner of Endless Possibilities Life Coaching Services, and I am a certified life coach with a Bachelor's of Science degree in psychology. I am working this month on bringing a series of videos to my audience, to you guys, to define 4 initiating steps that we can take to persuade ourselves towards positive change. So this is the last video in the series, and actually as a coach, this is one of the more exciting aspects of work that I get to do with clients because it is so deep and so impactful. But what I'm going to talk to you guys today about today is on the fact, what I call our operational system. So other people would maybe understand it by like your belief system, but to me it's a little bit more than that, right? So to me, an operational system is the system of processing mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual, like all of those aspects, that whole mechanism of processing those and internalizing it into ourselves, our self-value, our self-worth, so that we then turn around and start externalizing it or putting it back out in our environment. Basically the expression of ourselves. So maybe in an easier way to sum it up, the operational system to me is the life that we take in, or the experience that we take in, how we interpret it based on what the mechanisms of that operational system is, and then how we turn around and share ourselves based on that with the world. So the operational system is paramount in how we show up and how we experience life within ourselves. The operational system is built on a number of mechanisms. Some are, that nature versus nurture. I definitely think there's the biological component, and there's absolutely the nature component to it. It's also built on our life experiences, where we were at emotionally when we experienced them, where we were at developmentally when we experienced them. All of these things play in to our operational system. Beyond that, what is our social mechanisms? Do we feel very supported and loved in our social environment? Do we feel depleted? Do we feel neglected in our social environment? Back to, I think it was the second video I did where I discussed the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If we're lacking in any of those areas, especially the higher areas, that really messes with our operational system. But even the primary areas, right? If you're always in a state of physical survival, it really shapes the way you see and experience the world, and it shapes the way you're going to interact with the world. So our operational system is really the key component to transforming change in our life. And sometimes clients have a pretty well-developed operational system, meaning that it's in a healthy framework. It's pretty supportive to positive development and stuff. So in those things, maybe there's just a little bit of tweaking. Other clients really need a huge upheaval within their operational system because it's the subconscious of ourselves. Maybe that's another good way to put it. It's really the context that we are not tangibly, consciously working with. And the operational system, in my professional opinion, pretty much primarily runs on an autopilot from the subconscious. So I think that's what I find so rewarding in the work, is that we're actually taking what's kind of a more automatic system that we don't really ever think about and bring into context, and we're making it conscious. So when we do that, now we can exert free will, we can exert intention, and we can start to not override in the same way we can our mind processes, but we can start to recalibrate the operational system. I think that's the word I would like. We definitely can recalibrate that, and we can make it work to our advantage in the way, again, back to that Maslow's hierarchy of need, put us in a place where we can self-actualize, put us in a position where we can thrive. Mindset is a huge part to that, and that's not just the way, what you think in the pattern of your thoughts. It's the operational system that takes in those thoughts and really directs the tone of those messagings. So, the thing to leave, again, this is another very complex layer of coaching that I do within my practice, but from this standpoint, just start evaluating your operational system. When, simple questions you can ask yourself, I know road rage is something that's very common, unfortunately, here in Florida, but probably all over. If somebody cuts you off and you find yourself being emotionally triggered, or you find yourself being very aggravated, why does that impact you so much? What is your fundamental belief, or what is the operational processing to that act? Because the reality is there's a number of scenarios. One, the person could have just really not seen you and it been purely an accident and non-intentional. Two, the person could be going through something very traumatizing and really kind of not be in the space to be as observant. Three, the person could have intentionally done it. I mean, there's just such an endless amount of possibilities as to why that happens. So it's not so much that something happens. What's really significant is, why do we take it the way that we do? And that's what I mean about evaluating your operational system. Life is life. Things are going to be, and we have very little control over those things. But what we can navigate, and what we can start to control and recalibrate and redirect and persuade towards positive living, is how we experience life. And if we are in a place where we feel like we're experiencing life to its fullest and we're feeling pretty fulfilled and satisfied, then I would wager that your operational system is probably in a very supportive framework for you. If, however, you're feeling differently about it, if you feel like your life is incomplete, if you feel like you're struggling, or you're always pushing to get ahead and it never seems to happen there, I would absolutely recommend that you evaluate your operational system and really start to determine, why are you experiencing life the way you are? What are the thought processes? What is the initiating knee-jerk reaction to that experience that you feel? And what could that actually imply a little bit more about your operational system, or what others might call a belief system? So I hope this has been a little helpful. Again, sometimes the topics that really do provoke the most change have a lot of little nuances and aspects to it, but there are coaching tips and skill sets that I teach that can absolutely help support this and really can help uncover some of the answers to this. But from a starting point, I think just becoming aware of your presence and your experience to life, and really starting to kind of dive in a little bit and gain a little deeper understanding as to why those things are being experienced that way will give you a great amount of insight into your operational system. So I hope that you have found this series helpful, as well as this video, because this is the last one in that series. But really, the main point throughout this entire series is it's about what's in your control, what can you take action towards, and how do you start persuading yourself towards positive change. And it really, again, is through those 4 steps. First, we've got to look at the mental framework, right? Are our thoughts supporting us? And if not, how do we start shifting that? Then we have to look at the stability within our human condition. And as I said, we're the constant. We are the ones we can never separate from ourselves as long as we live in this life. And we are the constant in thought, in body, and in emotion. So when we can find stability within our own human condition, and a lot of times we can do that simply by starting to define who we are and build a relationship with that, basically a relationship with ourselves. Now we can persuade change, and we can be unmovable in the face of opposing persuasion. So that's where we become strengthened in our foundation. And then we have to move to regulating those emotions. Again, what's a feeling versus what's an emotion? If it's an emotion, what do I want to do with this? Because that is really something that can steer most of us off course. We can have the greatest ideas, we can have a strong mindset, we can be clear in who we are, but those emotions can come and take us off track. So when we can start really looking at that and learning how to regulate that, even simply by saying, do I need this? Is this an emotion? If it is, what do I want to do about it? It gives us a lot of control and a lot more power and authority over the direction of our life. And then finally, this one, the operational system, because that's really what all of those aspects are funneling through. They're funneling in and they're funneling out through that operational system. So they're all key components to the bigger picture. And I hope again that you have found this video useful. If you like it, please subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more of these insights.